Hey, thanks for clicking on another Pay Me No Mind sports and entertainment video. I am the host of the Pay Me No Mind podcast and the Bite Down Boxing podcast. RL Woodson. Two things very quickly. One, I want to send a huge shout out to all the veterans out there. Thanks for your service. And for me myself being a former service member, I didn't even go get me a free lunch anywhere today. But you know, again, thanks for everybody's service and thanks for the support of everybody that served. Secondly, see, I got this Tribe Called Quest stuff on, or T. Uh, Salute to the Tribe and the Wu Tang Clan, as Friday was the 25-year anniversary of Midnight Marauders and uh, Enter the Wu Tang, the 36 Chambers. So just send those out there. I would have got to those on something else earlier this weekend, but I've been busy. Hey, look, man, let's jump into this Washington Redskins game down in Tampa. Getting a 16-3 victory, I believe, was the final score. I told you guys last week it wasn't the end of the world. I mean, and it's not going to be pretty moving forward. But I'm going to try to keep this very short today. Obviously, the game ball, if I was giving one out, the game ball would have to go to line coach Callahan and the guys up front on the offensive line to come in and do, some of what they did, or, to have a performance that they had today when, you lose two guards, Sheriff and, Williams is already out. Morgan is banged up. So for those guys, games are won in between the trenches or in the trenches. So salute to that group for putting it together, getting it together. Probably put in a hard week of work and made it happen today. 16-3, 6-3 at halftime. An ugly game. And, with the offensive juggernauts out there in the Rams and New Orleans Saints, who had 51 today against the local Cincinnati Bengals, it's tough out here. And, but, we got to keep our head up. And, 6-3 is awesome. I think in recent years, after so many 2-5, 2-6, I think even RG3's year was a 2-6 or was it 3-6 start? But anyway, I think maybe it was. I can't remember. Don't have those notes in front of me. But anyway, yeah, still Smith only had 8 incompletions today. Did have 100, a little over 100 rating for his passer rating. 68 yards on the ground from AP. Balanced catching as far as receiving yards with Maurice Harris getting it in a little bit. Dotson 2 weeks in a row with a touchdown. Jordan Reed having a better game this week. But again, we're not scaring anybody offensively, and Tampa Bay looked horrible as a horrific outing for an NFL team with the missed kicks, the fumbles, 2 interceptions from Fitzpatrick. But hey, that's part of our formula to winning, and we move on to the Houston Texans at home. And you know what? I'm gonna say it right now. I feel better about this game if it was on the road. I really would. Gruden just does not seem to get the guys fired up and focused in home stands. And because right now we really should be, we really should. If you look at what the Browns did to Atlanta today, we really should be like. I know this sounds crazy even saying it. 8-1 was really realistic. If we took care of business in the home opener against the Colts, that should have been a victory in my opinion. And then last week we could have taken care of business against the Atlanta Falcons. So 8-1 was really realistic, and I don't know how. I don't know how, but we're here. So anyway, like I said, I would feel much better next week if this game was in Houston, but we'll see. Hopefully the folks in the DMV area show up, give us a good home crowd. One thing I wanted to talk about very quickly was just I hadn't heard much of Maurice Harris except seeing him here and there, some spot duty practice squad guy, and coming out of the blue the last couple weeks, but getting 10 receptions. I mean, I know he's probably playing the second best defender, defensive back in most weeks, or maybe even a third, best cover guy. But I mean, 10 catches in a game, I would do backflips if Dotson could produce that. Even though, like I said, 2 touchdowns the last 2 weeks, or a pair of touchdowns total the last 2 weeks. Dotson continues to put it together, and we're going to need him to continue to expand his role in our offense if we're going to be successful. But just looking at it, Harris has 21 catches this year for 226 yards, and then Dotson only has 19 receptions. I don't think that's counting today, but 19 receptions with 190 yards. Yeah, it wasn't for today because it only has 1 touchdown here. So, this, it goes without saying that Dotson has been a work in progress. But again, if we're to do anything, if we're to make it to the playoffs and have a good home game, host a home game and have a good showing. I know that's thinking ahead, but if we're going to do anything with that opportunity, we would need Dotson to show up that game. So we need to keep building towards that. Defensively today, we still gave up, like I said, 408 yards or something to Fitzpatrick, but the interceptions were timely. It was even some return yards on those interceptions. The defense, I think Preston Smith got that sack on the forced fumble with Kerrigan. So just everybody making plays at the right time. Not a whole lot more to say. It was the last thing that I'll make note of. Even when we got the ball back, and needed to really, the game still wasn't, out of reach because it was over 3.5 minutes left, or over 3 minutes left. We still come right out and run the ball on first down. And I know it's playing it by the numbers, it's being safe, it's not being foolish or what have you, but at some point in time, I get to the point, Alex Smith is going to have to make a play. He missed the play he missed that longer pass with Vernon Davis running free. At some point in time, we're going to have to rely on him not to manage the game and not to do, play a solid game over the course of the game. At some point in time, in a key moment, Alex Smith is going to have to make a play through the air, most likely. So, like I said, the game wasn't out of reach. It would have been nice if we maybe could have came down and on that first play and got an 8-yard pass would have been nice. A 6 or 7-yard pass would have been nice. But to see Adrian trying to, everybody in the building knows he's getting the ball. And I think he got a few yards on that. But we ended up picking up the first down and whatnot. But again, at some point over these next 7 games, 8 hopefully, Alex Smith is going to have to make a play. Hey, look, do me a favor if you don't mind. Like I said, I'm not doing the deepest dive into it statistically and all of that. I'm just kind of getting in some content this week. Might do I got a Pistons video I'm thinking of doing, but I don't know how people are going to vibe with my thoughts on what I see in Detroit with the Pistons. But if you don't mind, man, subscribe to the channel. Check me out. We can talk about some things below if you want to leave a comment. Hit the like button if you don't mind. That notification thing, I don't really bother with that. But if you want to chop it up a little bit, I'd appreciate it. Once again, my name is Wood. This is the Pay Me No Mind Sports and Entertainment channel for right now. I don't know what's going on with the podcast, but hey, enjoy the rest of football Sunday. Peace.